Spoiler alert, since his brother's near-death experience in House of the Dragon Season 2. Episode 4. The Red Dragon and the Gold. Aemond Targaryen has ruled King's Landing and the Seven Kingdoms overall with an iron fist. It makes sense that he would be so eager to seize power. After all, he is the one who initially prevented King Aegon from occupying the Iron Throne. The Prince Regent has not been afraid to use massive armies to seize areas of Westeros that could pose a threat to his group in the Dance of Dragons, or to starve his people to death in order to feed his soldiers and fire-breathing creatures. For a while, his strategy seemed to be working. Queen Rhaenyra found herself stranded on an island with scant land forces and even fewer dragons of combat age. She was reduced to a mere piece on Prince Aemond's chessboard, mere moves from being vanquished by a scaled and wingless knight. Ultimately, Aemond is a formidable opponent since he possesses the largest dragon in the kingdom.
Lord Aegon. No.
Welcome to Movie Spy. Yes, Aemond held the upper hand there for a while, but things are beginning to change. As seen by the Addam of Hull's rightful claim to the dragon Seasmoke, Aemond has excellent reason to fear for his life at this point, or at least for his favorable position in the Dance of the Dragons. At the conclusion of Episode 7, The Red Sowing, the Prince Regent realized that Rhaenyra had recruited a significant number of dragons to her fleet and fled in terror from Dragonstone. Aegon is improving behind his back every moment, and with Lord Larys at his side, he may end up being a far more capable king than he was. Maybe Aemond should start tallying his losses. It is time for us to comprehend the specifics of what transpired here. Aemond's dream has always been to rule House of the Dragon. First things first, it is critical to understand that Aemond has always wanted to rule as king in the House of the Dragon. Indeed, in Season 2, Episode 3, The Burning Mill, the guy decided to confront his brother after being humiliated in a pleasure house for wanting solace in the arms of the first woman he had ever slept with. Aemond attempted to brush it off and set his fortifications even more firmly in place as Aegon, and his companions laughed and made fun of him. Even for someone as perverse as Aegon, kicking a man, nay, his own brother down in such a vulnerable situation is a low blow. But though it was a wake-up call, Aemond's desire to govern had not been sparked by this particular occasion.
Aemond is the next in line. It must be him.
From a very young age, the current Prince Regent has struggled with his kingly instincts. Aemond was not merely expressing his longing for his sister in Season 1 when he said to a young Aegon that he would not mind sharing his bed with Helaena when they grew older. Additionally, he was assuring viewers and Aegon that he would be more than happy to fill his brother's shoes. Aemond had higher goals even though he was serving as Aegon as commander and a member of his small council. Playing second fiddle to the king, it is important to remember that he and Sir Criston Cole were plotting maneuvers without Aegon's knowledge or approval. Once more, we can read that as something far more benign, a straightforward wish to use his apparently natural military prowess to guide the Greens to victory. It is also possible to interpret it as an attempt at covert rule, or as an attempt to pretend to be a legitimate monarch in the presence of a fool at the throne. From this vantage point, Aemond is getting rid of a political nuisance as well as exacting revenge on his brother for defaming him when he lets Beggar loose on Aegon and Sunfire. Aemond truly becomes the new king, if only momentarily, when he smokes Aegon off Sunfire. Even if it could take him some time to take control of the little council and mold it to his will. The sight of Aegon's burned corpse in the forest already signals his victory. The only sensible candidate for regent, particularly during a period of conflict, is him, as he is the next in line and the rider of the most terrifying animal in the kingdom.
The obvious choice is his immediate successor, Prince Aemond.
Aemond finally achieved his dream of taking the kingdom and ruling King's Landing's populace, including aristocrats and commoners, after Aegon became severely burned and confined to a bed. He also makes sure that the truth about what he has done will never be revealed by torturing Aegon in his quarters.
I remember nothing.
As the regent, he even has authority over the wounded king, who is also known as the elder brother who has plagued him all of his life. Aemond's dominance over Aegon was constantly declining. However, Aemond ought to have known that this specific dance would not endure indefinitely. After Aegon recovers, he will eventually reclaim the Iron Throne. Being a regent has its drawbacks since it limits your authority to the period that the king or queen is incapable of ruling. And with the help of the Maester, Aegon is gradually getting back on his feet. In fact, the Red Sowing shows the Green King walking around his chamber, something that would have been unimaginable a few episodes before. Additionally, under Lord Larys' supervision, Aegon is weaning himself off of the poppy milk, which may lessen his suffering, but has the undesirable side effect of impairing his judgment. It will not be long until others notice that the king is once again capable of making decisions, as his intelligence is slowly returning. Even though Aegon is a horrible king and many people do not want him back, the Game of Thrones is unforgiving, and the monarch has allies. The previously stated Lord Larys Strong, who controls a large portion of the wealth and power of his rundown household, is one of such allies. For quite some time now, Lord Larys has been attempting to become the king's hand. He brought it up to Aegon and then Aemond, who promptly silenced him in the most ruthless manner imaginable. However, Larys has developed a soft spot for the king because Aegon hired him to serve as Master of Whispers. Over the past few episodes, Lord Larys has been helping Aegon feel better about his current situation by drawing on his own experience as a crippled man. When the king determines it is time to get back on the proverbial horse, he will undoubtedly support Aegon. Having Lord Larys as a right-hand man is obviously advantageous, since he is all about utilizing knowledge as a weapon and blackmailing even the Dowager Queen Alicent. So Aemond's days as regent are numbered on the home front. As a general in his brother's little council, he might still hold some influence, but it will be challenging given that he is disliked by both Larys and Aegon. Not to mention the fact that his dragon power will eventually become obsolete. A certain queen was growing agitated over her lack of dragons, while Prince Aemond was occupied dispatching soldiers to the Riverlands and tending to his brother's wounds. Her agitation has just paid off. House of the Dragon has given Rhaenyra the advantage. The decision by Rhaenyra to enlist Targaryen bastards to serve as dragonriders is closely tied to the title of the Red Sowing. The Queen's own Syrax and Rhaenys' now deceased Meleys were the only two monsters capable of taking on Beggar. Unable to risk endangering the Queen by flying into battle herself, she attempted to find highborns descended from Targaryens in order to subdue the formidable Seasmoke. Because of her family's history of incest, she only found one highborn candidate, and to make matters worse, that candidate had been burned to a char. Then Seasmoke selected his own rider, Addam, the bastard of Lord Corlys Velaryon. In an attempt to see if any of the bastards could mount a dragon, Rhaenyra summoned bastards from all throughout the realm. As it turns out, a few of them were successful. The two newest dragon riders in Rhaenyra, Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White, are riding Vermithor and Silver Wing, respectively. Now, the Blacks have roughly 7 dragons on their territory, while the Greens now only have Beggar and possibly Helena's Dreamfire battling for them. For a team that began the conflict on the losing side, that is an incredible advantage. Actually, this probably will not endure either, since dragons cannot win a war by themselves. Besides Daemon, whose loyalty is now unclear, Rhaenyra has demonstrated her darker side by permitting a carnage to occur at Dragonstone in order to locate 2 riders. However, Aemond and Beggar do not appear to be as menacing as they once were. Thanks for watching.